忍びの時代は終わる。
螺旋が
Boruto awakens Renegan's eyes. But wait, I know your initial reaction is definitely to think I'm crazy and nonsense. But I'm saying this not without a clear reason. Even to support this theory, I have a source and also a comparison of why this can happen. I don't think that this will 100% happen. But let me explain first. And as we know, if Boruto became an Otsutsuki through Shinjutsu known as Karma, this allowed him to achieve the strength and abilities required by an Otsutsuki. But one thing he has yet to awaken is the ability to produce his own horns. Believe it or not, if the horns of each Otsutsuki are not ordinary horns without a meaning and meaning of their own, because basically the horn is a very important part and also represents the strength and abilities they have. Actually, every Otsutsuki that we know so far, each of them has a different design and shape, and most likely, if each horn of each Otsutsuki is a symbol or ranking of their strength. And of course, not only that, the number of horns can also be interpreted as a symbol that Otsutsuki has to determine whether they have the eyes of Renegan or not. And once again, this is not something without reason or even just plain nonsense. But there is a proof why this can be said to make sense. And of course, we can prove this by looking at Kaguya, Shibai, Momoshiki, and Urashiki. All those who have two horns will be able to awaken Renegan, right? And try to observe and see Otsutsuki like Ishiki and Kinshiki, who only have one horn. Have you ever seen them use or awaken their Renegan eyes so far? And once again, if it is true that the Otsutsuki horn is the source of power for an Otsutsuki, then it makes perfect sense that we cannot see Boruto using the power of Momoshiki as we have seen in the past. And the reason why Kawaki can use Ishiki's power to its fullest potential is because Kawaki can grow horns with his own consciousness, while Boruto, he cannot grow or awaken Momoshiki's horns with his consciousness. The last time we saw Boruto, he was only able to awaken Byakugan, and after that, Momoshiki always took over Boruto's body when he used his karma power, right? Because basically, Boruto is not the same as Kawaki. Boruto always awakens Momoshiki's power in emergency positions and is really dying. Not like Kawaki, who awakens the power of Otsutsuki with his own will, because this is clearly very different, right? Then we can conclude that the horn is indeed the main source of strength for the Otsutsuki. But do you know why a horn can be a source of strength? And believe it or not, if this is actually clearly proven in the Boruto anime, whenever someone loses part of their limbs, there must be a weakness that occurs in their strength. A simple example is Sasuke. Why did Momoshiki target Sasuke's Renegan eye? Because that eye is the greatest source of power possessed by Sasuke. By destroying that Renegan eye, Momoshiki could guarantee that Sasuke would not be a troublesome obstacle. It is evident that by eliminating Sasuke's Renegan, Momoshiki managed to make Sasuke always be in danger and not have the great potential of the power of his eyes. And this was already evident when Sasuke lost against Code and Ten Tails' army until he ended up becoming a tree. But this is just a general example. And the specific example is Kinshiki or Urashiki. Do you still remember these two Otsutsuki? Kinshiki and Urashiki. Do you realize what made them lose? And this is most likely the reason why Kinshiki could lose to the Kage. And the biggest possibility is because Sasuke broke his horn. By breaking part of his horn, it became a trigger to weaken and reduce the great potential of his strength. But of course, this analysis and theory is not optimal if only Kinshiki is the example. If you observe how Urashiki's defeat, this is also an example of why the horn is the source of part of Otsutsuki's power. After Urashiki's horn was broken by Boruto's Rasengan, Urashiki's power potential decreased, and in the end, he was defeated by Boruto and his friends. But basically, the horns that the Otsutsuki have are part of their power potential. I don't know, but certainly there is a significant effect if part of their horns are damaged. So, what do you think? Does this make sense, guys? From the beginning, the concept of the source of power in one's body has been spelled out very clearly in the Naruto universe. That chakra itself is generated by connecting mental energy and physical energy obtained from every cell in the body of a living being. What if the Otsutsuki also adhere to the same concept as the shinobi? The horns of the Otsutsuki are included in their physical energy. So losing the horns means losing a few % of their physical energy. And speaking of Urashiki and Kinshiki, there is one more strong evidence that horns are the source of power for the Otsutsuki. Let's look at the scene in the Boruto anime episode 218. When Boruto's consciousness returns, Boruto tries to take control of his body by breaking Momoshiki's horns. Why at that moment was Momoshiki so scared when Boruto wanted to break the horns on his head? It's not just about Boruto successfully taking control of his body, but it seems that the broken horn had a negative impact on Momoshiki. Until now, the broken horn has never been shown to recover. The question is, how much power lies in their horns? If it is very large, it means that it can be said that the horns are the weak point of the Otsutsuki. This theory is also further supported by the demonstration of Otsutsuki horns that get bigger when they get great strength. This happened to Momoshiki and Urashiki. The great power they get always coincides with changes in their horns. Do you think Momoshiki managed to transfer his power as his horns grew? When Boruto used the Rasengan from Naruto's added power source on Momoshiki, Momoshiki's horns instantly shattered after receiving Boruto's Rasengan attack. So, is Momoshiki's strength unable to fully recover? Is Momoshiki's power forever limited to what we have seen in Boruto's story so far? To be honest, there isn't much evidence to prove this. Supposedly, over time, Momoshiki's powers will recover, just like how Biju recover after they die. If this is true, then it makes sense why Momoshiki could take control of Boruto's body more easily than before. Now, Momoshiki can directly take control of Boruto's body if Boruto uses the Karma ability, whereas before, Momoshiki couldn't do that. Remember, Momoshiki's data is now fully extracted with Boruto. Because after all, Momoshiki had already used some of his karma data to restore Boruto's damaged body. Supposedly, the data was used to resurrect Momoshiki's original body, but since the data was instead used to repair Boruto's damaged limbs, it means that the data now belongs to the original Boruto instead of Momoshiki's body that will be reborn from karma. But according to what Momoshiki said, even if the data is completely extracted in Boruto's body, it is still the case that at this time, Boruto is said to be a perfect Otsutsuki. Because the data that was not used to heal Boruto's body was extracted and was able to be controlled by Momoshiki using karma. So naturally, Momoshiki can really control Boruto's body when he enters karma mode. Only through karma can Momoshiki do something like this. So Boruto's move was right not to use the power of karma if he didn't want to awaken Momoshiki. But will Boruto be able to withstand not using karma? Will the power of Kawaki, who has released his limit, be enough to defeat the Divine Tree people? It seems that it will be very difficult, because Code is now working with them. And the final conclusion of this discussion is, if every Otsutsuki member is able to awaken both horns on their head, does that mean that Boruto, as a perfect Otsutsuki in the future, can awaken the Eye of Renegan? I know this sounds crazy and absurd, but then again, if Renegan is only possessed by some Otsutsuki members who have 2 horns on their head, does that mean that Boruto also, as a perfect Otsutsuki, has the same chance in the future? Perhaps the percentage of Boruto having the Renegan can be considered quite small, because basically, Boruto refuses to have his body dominated and controlled by the Momoshiki. But other than that, does it make sense that the Renegan is a symbol of how many Otsutsuki horns they have? I actually doubt this. But when the facts are like that, I kind of believe this. What about you guys? And yeah, Leaked Chapter 17 may release on the 14th or 15th with 1 or 2 pages. Make sure you like and sub so you don't miss out on the next Boruto update. I'm Nim. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Data bio.